Hello guys, welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to be creating this responsive navigation here. So as you can see, if you are viewing it on the desktop, it's looking like that. But once you are viewing it on the tablet, it's looking like that. Then you got this, and then once you click on this, it's coming in there. And then with this hover effect there, and then once you click on this, it's disappearing, right? And then check, you got this brown background here. And then once you are on your mobile, it's looking like that, and then it got this background here, right? And then it can be like that. Once you click on this, it's coming in and out there. So yeah, this is what we are going to be creating. So yeah, I'm excited. But before we get started, I just want to ask you, like, if this is your first time, then please consider subscribing and smash that notification bell so you get notified every time we upload a new tutorial. So yeah, with that being said, let's get started. So to kick things off, I already have my HTML file open up here. I also have my CSS. As you can see, it's empty. I already linked it to my HTML, and I'm running a live server, so it's open up in my browser here. As you can see, it's also empty. So yeah, in this tutorial, I will be using Poppins, which is a Google font, and I'll also be using font awesome icons. So if you don't know how to use all this, I did a video where I explain and show you how to do all this, so I'll leave the link in the description for you to check them out. So yeah, let's just start writing our codes. So I want to come into my HTML, and then the first thing I want to add is just add a nav. Just press nav there and then press tab, and then inside this nav I want to add an input. An input there, I want to give it an ID of chalk, right? And then the type I'm going to be giving as a checkbox, right? You give it right there. Now I want to come down here. As you can see, I'm down there, and then I want to create a label, and then this label I want to give it a class name of checkbtn, right? That's a class, and then when I press tab, that's created there. But then this tab that I created, I want it to be for this input with the ID of check here. So where we got 4 here, I'm going to give it this class name, check there, check. So whatever ID name you gave your input up here, put it in here, 4 here, right? You got that. Now I want to come down here. This is where I'm going to add my icon. So the icon I told you we are going to be using font awesome. So I'm just come to the website here and then copy this ring here, and then paste it in here, down there, and then paste it down there, right? You got that. And again, I'll leave the link in the description if you don't know how to use all this, right? So just cross this off, and then I remain with that one. So now I want to come down, come outside of your label, but you are still inside your navigation. So I want to add a label, another label, and then this time I want to give it a class name of logo, right? And then this time come down here, and then this I just want to add my logo. Let's just say Kandowa. And then I want to come outside of my label and then come down here and then create our URL there and listed, and then create our list item, and then I want to create a ring. This is going to be linking nowhere. So and then this, let's just say home. So I want to copy this ring list item there, and then just paste it, let's say 4 or 5 times. So 1 2 3 4 5, and then let's just change this to about us, and then change this, let's say, to services, and then I want to change this, let's say, to portfolio there, and then let's just change the last one to contact us, right? You got all that, and then if you save that and then come in here, you see you got all this. So if you are not running a live server, make sure you refresh. So as you can see, I have all this in my HTML there, right? If I enlarge this, you see you got it right there. You got your checkbox there, and then all this, right? Perfect. So that's all I wanted to add in my HTML. Let's just jump right straight into our CSS. So we are in our CSS, but before we start writing our codes, I just want to explain something to you. So when dealing with a responsive website or a responsive content, or want to create a responsive content, you will be forced to make a choice. You can either create a desktop version first and then move down to your mobile version, or you can start creating your mobile version and then move to your tablet and then your desktop. So what for me, I like to create a mobile version first and then move on to the desktop part. But you will find some people that like to create a desktop first and then move down to the tablet. So it's really just up to you which way you prefer. And again, in this video, I'm going to be creating or starting with a mobile version and then move my way up to the desktop. So let's go ahead and start creating our mobile version. So in my CSS, the first thing I want to do is just reset a couple of things to 0. So edit this, and then I just want to set the margin. The margin, I want to set it to 0, and then I want to set the padding. Padding, let's set them to 0 as well. And then I want to come down, and then I want to set the box sizing. I want to set it to border box. And then the next thing I want to do here is just text decoration. I want to remove it, so I'm going to set it to none. And then the last thing I want to do is just remove the wrist. So wrist style, I want to set it to none. And then if you save and come in here, you see you got this, right? So now I want to come down, I want to target my body, and then I also want to target my link there. So I want to target the whole body and then this ring here. As you can see this pro text here, that's our link. So that's what I want to target now. So with this, I just want to use the font family that I'm going to be using. Font family. So in this case, I'm going to be using Poppins, which is a Google font. And then if Poppins is not running, I want to use sans serif. Right? So then I'll come down here and then I just want to set the color. Set the color there and then set it to this whitish here. So if you save that, you see you got it right there. As you can see, you can see your text are here. Right? You got that. So now I want to, let's come into our HTML. The next thing I want to target is this navigation here. Right? I want to target that navigation there. That's nav. So just call it, it's just a nav. So now the first thing that you want to do is just set the position. You want to set it to relative. And then the next thing you want to do is just set the height. Let's set it to 100 pixel. And then the next thing I want to do is just set the width. Here, let's set it to 100%. And then I just want to set the background. I just want to use this color, which is 1ABC9C. So save that. See, you got it right there. Right? Perfect. So now I want us to targeting this checkbox and then these icons here. So if you come in here, you navigate in your HTML, you see you got this input here, which is a checkbox, and then you also got your label there, which is your icons there. So first thing that I want to do is target this checkbox here, a label with a class name of checkbox. Right? So copy this. Just want to copy that class name there and then come into my CSS down here. So let's call that, is checkbox. Check BTN. Check BTN. Make sure you use the right class name there. So the first thing I want to do is just set the position. I want to set it to absolute. Right? And then the next thing I want to do is just move it to the right. So right, let's set it to 30 pixel. And then I want to move it from the top a bit. So let's just move it, let's say, to 25 pixel to the top. And then I want to give it some font size, since I want to make it a bit bigger. Font size, let's set it to 30 pixel. And then the last thing I want to add here is just add a cursor. So the cursor, I want to make it a pointer. So if you save that, you see, if you come in here, you see you got it right there. Right? But you still got your checkbox here. Right? You see you got your checkbox there, so you want to remove that. Now if you come in here in your HTML, you see your checkbox there got a ID of check. Right? So you want to come down to your CSS and then call your ID. And then what you want to do is just display, since you want to display it none. And then save that. So you can see it's now not there, it's now disappeared. Display to none. The only thing you got left is these icons here. Right? Perfect. So now I want us to move on to targeting our title there. If you come into your HTML, you got your label with a class name of logo. So let's call this logo and then targeting this one. Alright, so I want to come down here into our CSS, come down there, call it, it's your logo. Right, the first thing that you want to do is just set the font size. Want to increase it a bit, so let's set it to 30 pixel. And then the next thing I want to do is just give this some line height. Let's set it to 100 pixel. And then the next thing I want to do is just give it some margin. Let's set it to 0 pixel to the top and bottom, and then 40 pixel to the left and right. And then next thing I want to do here is just set the font weight, since I want to bold them. So font weight, let's set it to 800. Save that. Then if you come in here, you see you got it right there. Right, you got it right there. Perfect. So now you want to move on to targeting your URL or your list item. If you come in here, you got this unlisted here. Right, this unlisted tag there. So that's what you want to move on to next. So let's jump into our CSS and then call that, it's nav, it's inside our nav, and then it's your list unlisted there. Right, so the first thing you want to do is just set the position you want to use relative, and then the next thing you want to give it the width you want to set it to 100%, and then you just want to give it a background. So a background, you want to use a different color, so let's use this 12475F. If you save that, you see you got it right there. See this, you got it down here. So now let's add some more property to that. So I want to come down here, and then the next thing I want to do is just give it some height. So if you give it a height, let's say a height of 100 view age, then save that. See, you got it right there. So now the next thing you want to do is let's just text align, since I want them to be in the center. Text align, you want to move them to the center, and then if you save, you see you got it right there. Everything is now in the center. Right, perfect. So now you want to move on to targeting your list item here, or list item, which if you come in here is this one here, your list item there, all this. So come down here in your CSS and then call that, it's nav, then unlisted, but then this time you're targeting your list item. So the first thing you want to do is just change the font size. The font size, let's make it 20 pixel, and then come down here, let's just add some padding to this. Let's set it to 20 pixel. So if you save this, you see you got it right there. Right, perfect. So now you want, once you hover, you want to give it a background color. Once you hover your list item there, once you hover your navigation, you want to give it a different background color. So you want to come down here, your nav, unlisted, and then erase, but then you want to, once you hover, you want to give it, let's say, a different background color. So background, you want to use this color, which is 1ABC9C. So if you save that, see, now once you hover, you see got a different background color there. Right, perfect, you got that. So now you want this navigation to appear once you click on here. So you see, if you click on this icon, nothing is happening. So you want your navigation to appear once you click on this. So once you are on mobile, so as you all know, right now we are creating a mobile version, we are working on a mobile version. So now you want your navigation to appear once you click on these icons up here. Right, so what you have to do is just come up here and then come inside your nav URL there. Right, I want to come down here and then just give it some margin to the left. Let's set it to negative 100%. Right, and then the last thing I want to add here is just add a transition. I want to add a transition, let's just set it to all, and then I want it to last, let's say, 5 seconds. Right, and then if you save this, you see your navigation has now disappeared. Right, you got it right there, perfect. So now you want to, once you click on here, you want your navigation to appear. So as you can see, even if you click on here on this icon, nothing is happening. So once you click on this checkbox here, you want it to, your navigation to appear. But then if you come in here, you know, these icons here got a label, which is a checkbox, but it was made for this input here with the ID of check. Right, so we have to call this check here. So come here, and then you know it's an ID, so I want you to come down, call check, right? But then you want, once it's checked, once you click on it, you want your URL, right? Be careful of the syntax there, make sure you check perfect, pay attention. You want your URL, you want to give it some margin to the left, you want to remove that, set it to 0. So you can see here, up here, you gave it a margin left to negative 100%. So now you want, once your check is checked, your checkbox is checked, you want the margin left to be removed. So if you save that, say you see, you save that. Now once you come here and then click here, or you are like checking your checkbox there, once you click on there, your navigation is now appearing. Right, see that it's appearing, and then once you click on it again, it's disappearing. Click on it, appearing. See, perfect, you got that. So yeah, now you're done with your mobile version there. You created your mobile version. So now if you see, once you enlarge this, you are viewing it on desktop, it's looking the same. See, on desktop it's looking the same, but then you don't want it to be looking like this on desktop. On desktop, you want your navigation to be up here, and then you want this to be displayed to now. You want to hide these icons here, and then you want your navigation to be appearing up here. Alright, so now to move on to that, what we have to do is just create a media query for our desktop. Right, again, let me say that again. So to move that, or to create, or to work on a desktop version, all we have to do is just create a media query for our desktop version. Right, so I want us to come down here and then just create a media query. So you have to add media, and then the next thing I want to do is only screen end, right? And then you want your minimum width, you want to add a minimum width to, let's set it to 1000 pixel, right? And then you want to create that. That's how you create a media query, right? So now you want to target the first thing that you want to target. So let's just enlarge this and then put it on desktop. So you can see it's on desktop there, right? Perfect. So now the first thing that you want to do is remove this checkbox here. Since you are on desktop, you don't want it to be shown. So now when you are working on a desktop version, you don't have to call all these properties. You don't have to change all these properties. Let me say you don't have to change all these properties. You only have to call the ones that you want to change. Let's say you are in here. So you don't have to target this. You want this to stay the same, right? Or you want to exchange this and then hide this. So you know that you just have to come down. You know, it's your check btn there. So that's all you have to call. Come down here and then just call it. You know, the class name, which is check btn, right? And then what you want to do is create that. Remember, you are still inside this media query here, right? So you want to display, want to display to none, and then save that. Right, as you can see, if you come in here, it's now disappear, now display to none. Right, so now you want to move on to the next thing. So the next thing that you want to target is your navigation. As you can see, it's now disappear. You can't see your navigation, so you want your navigation to be appearing up here. So what you have to do is come down here. Then remember, you're still inside your media query there. You know your nav is this nav URL there. So come down, call it nav URL, right? And then the first thing that you want to do is give it the width. You want to change the width. Let's set it to 65%. So now the next thing I want to do is float. Just want to float it since you can't see it. So let's float it to the right. and then save. So now as you can see, it's now on the right here. So you floated to the right there, right? You see that, perfect. So now the next thing I want to do is just remove the margin from the ref, set it to 0, because if you come up here, you'll see here you added some margin to the ref to negative 100%, right? So you want to set it to 0 there. And then the next thing, if you come in here, you see just want to remove the height. You see this is 100 VH, so you want to remove the height there. So come down, I want to remove the height. Let's set it to 100 pixel. I want to set it to 100 pixel and then save. So you can see you got it right there. And then the next thing I want to do is just text align. I want to text align. I want to leave it to the right. As you can see, if you come in here, they are text aligned to the center, so I want to move them to the right. So save. As you can see, they are now here. So now I want to remove this background there. So remove the background. I want to, let's set it to transparent. Right, save that. You see your background is now gone. And then the next thing I want to do is just give it some margin to the right a bit. So margin right, let's just set it to 30 pixel. Right, then you got it right there. So now as you can see, they are displayed block. Right, so you want to align here. So let's target our wrist item there. Right, so come down here, target our nav URL, but this time we are targeting our wrist item. Right, and then with this we want to, the first thing I want to display them to inline block. Right, if you save that, see you got it right there. Perfect. So now let's move on. The next thing I want to do, just give it some line height. Let's set it to 100 pixel. And then the next thing I want to do is just change some padding. Let's set it to 0 pixel and then 20 pixel. And then the next thing I want to do is just give it some margin right a bit. Margin right, let's set it to 20 pixel. Save that. Then you see you got it right there. Right, you got it right there. Perfect. So now got your navigation there. So now you want to add, once you hover, you want to give it a background. Right, perfect. So now you want to, if you check in here, you see once you hover, it got the background already, but it's the same background as your whole navigation. So you want to give it a different background. So just call that, it's your nav URL, then wrist. Wait, let me show you your wrist there. You want, once you hover, you want to give it a different background. So this background, let's use this color 12475F. Save that. So you come in here, now you see once you hover, you see got a different background. See that? Perfect. You got your navigation there. So let's actually see if it's responsive. So we're viewing it on the desktop, it's looking like that, but then once you move to a tablet, it's looking like this, and then you can see that it's scrolling down, and then on your phone it's looking like that, and then you can see that. Right, so let's move back to our tablet. On that tablet you got it right there. So now if you have noticed, we haven't created our tablet media query, and the reason is that this we want our tablet and our phone to have the same property, since we don't really have a lot of content in our navigation. So if you happen to be working on a bigger project where you have a lot of content in your navigation, or you just want to give some different property to your tablet, when you are having it on the tablet, you want it to have a different property, you can do that. All you have to do is just create a tablet media query. So let's say you are viewing it on the tablet and you want it to give it a different property. Like I said, all you have to do is just create a media query. So I don't have to rewrite everything. Just want to come here and then create a media query for our tablet. Come inside there, in between there, make sure it's coming before your desktop media query, and then just paste it down there and then create that media query there, and then just change this, let's say, to your tablet, which is like, let's say 700 pixel, right? So now what you have to do is just, let's say you wanted to remove the head, you didn't want it to cover the whole thing. All you have to do is just call that nav URL, right, and then remove the height there. So let's just set it to outer, and then if you save, you see you remove your height there, right? Perfect. So let's say you wanted to add, once you hover, you wanted to give it a different background. All you have to do is just call it, you see, your nav URL, and then your list item, once you hover, you are giving it a background, different background. Let's say you wanted to use brown, right? Got it right there. So now once you hover, you see you got a different background. When you are viewing it on the tablet, you got a brown there. And then but then if you are viewing it on the phone, you see it's back to that. On your phone you got it right there, and then this is like that, and then on your tablet you got it right there, the background color, you see that it's normal. And then once you are viewing it on the desktop, you got it right there. See that? Perfect. So you created that, right? So all you have to do is just create a media query for whatever devices you want to. Alright, as you can see, I created this. This is my tablet, and then my desktop, and then this is my mobile. Right? Perfect. So yeah, you got all that. You created your responsive navigation there. So yeah, I hope you find this video helpful. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, leave us a comment down below, and if this was your first time, then please consider subscribing and smash that notification bell so you get notified every time we upload a new tutorial. So yeah, that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm out. Peace, love, and unity.